creativity is nonsense. And I mean nonsense in the sense of it being illogical often, or not following the common sense that we often use to navigate the mundane everyday world. Creativity is like a form of sense making where you feel your way through problems and feelings and thought processes and ideas. And ultimately, you come to a certain sense of something, like, as in a certain essence, a certain feeling, or it brings out a sensation in someone else, or the sensations that you put into something can be felt by another. It's nonsense in essence. It's sense making without sensibility. um, I say all that to say that I'm in my studio at 1:48 a.m. on technically Friday morning, and I haven't been here down here in a bit because life has been busy and things have been moving and it's been all great and good and dandy, but I am jumping back into my creative process. And the beautiful thing about taking a breather and not being in the studio is that I kind of forget what I was doing. Like, there's a certain momentum that you can get from like constantly coming back to the studio and always being in that creative mode, which is awesome and needed. But then also you have to zoom out sometimes and just experience life outside of your internal worlds in order to come back and be like, what the fuck am I making? Like, what am I doing here? And I have all of these like running ideas and running projects, and sometimes it's good to step out of them to understand with intention what I really want to make. And I say all of that to say that here I am, and I'm a little confused, a little lost. I like worked on a spoken word poem, and I, put on the costume for that, and I, made the video, and I'm like, okay, now what? Um, so I'm kind of like, what? I don't know what to do with myself, and sometimes I can get a little overwhelmed with all the ongoing projects that I have. So, um, so yeah, I want to start documenting. I want to start documenting how I go about making things, because I think it would be really helpful to start to have a container for my creative processes so I can look back on it as an archive of, oh, like these are the different processes and steps it took to get to this thing. Because sometimes in the act of creating something, I really do lose my sense of how I got there, because you get so into the flow of creation that it's like, where am I? What have I done? And I find that actually, like, once I've made something and I walk away from it, I can often forget that I've made certain things, or I forget different projects that have been kind of like, you're so present when you make something that sometimes, you know, it's like accessing a completely different state of mind or state of being. Um, so yet I have this, I lately I have a desire to be integrating my work better, which means, how do I incorporate all of these various projects that I'm working on into coherent, integrated pieces of work that follow a through line, like this little project, this little painting I do here, and this little poetry I do here, and this little video I make here. Like, how does it all come together and become one larger piece of work? And I've been playing around with that idea for some time now of like, how do I make this more integrated? How do I like pull together all of these passions and projects and ideas into something coherent and deliverable to other people? And sometimes I'm just like, it could be the ADHD brain kind of thing. Like, is it even possible to do that? Sometimes like it just I feel so scattered and I fixate on different parts of it. I'm like da, 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 da. But trying to make like one coherent, huge piece of work is like it's such a big task. It's such a big ask. And it's like having to build an entire world, which I love to swim in that. To do that. But the question is how, you know? Question is how.